Hello, my name is Opal Singleton, and this show is Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, we've had this show for several years, and we so much enjoy meeting the people that listen to the show. I got to do that recently, and I was just simply blown away by you as listeners. I've shared this with so many people. This show was created because our organization combats things like child sex trafficking, adult sex trafficking, labor trafficking, social media exploitation in a big, big way, and also fighting things like child pornography and these large-scale child pornography rings. And I wanted the show originally. It scared me to death. I thought at the time, what the heck do I know about this deal? But I just feel so passionately that this kind of crime does not have to happen. That if we can educate parents and teenagers, moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas about how this works, that we can prevent our kids from being exploited. And so we started out, I think it'd been well over 5 years now. And I'm just so amazed at the caliber of listener that we have and your passion for being able to educate to keep our kids safe. Some of you are doctors and attorneys, but a lot of you are teachers or aunts or grandmas or youth leaders that are out there, pastors of all kinds, and maybe corporate leaders that really want to do what is right to protect the family. And I will tell you, it seems like I've been doing this so long that it gets harder and harder to protect the family. But what I do know is that this kind of crime is so totally unnecessary because it's a crime of psychology. And if we can educate our kids to understanding how it works and educate our parents and grandparents about technology, that we can prevent a lot of our kids from getting sucked up into the whole deal. Now, the crimes are not all the same, and the victims are not all the same, and the way the crime takes place is not the same. So it is kind of a broad subject that takes a lot of education. But I'm going to share with you today several cases that are local that have happened in the last 30 days in our area or near our area that might be of interest to you. And I'm going to do this because Million Kids is the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. Now, that is a group of men and women that report to Sheriff Chad Bianco, who is one of my heroes. He doesn't know I say that. I have worked for several different sheriffs in many different groups. I also work for several district attorneys out of Riverside. But I also collaborate with San Bernardino departments, and they are excellent people also. But what I can tell you is that when nobody else was actually putting more money into the police departments across the nation, our Riverside County Board of Supervisors, and I don't even know all their names, but I respect them, they helped fund a special unit for the district attorney's office, Mike Hestron, over there, to get child sex crimes, some especially investigators, some special technology to be able to investigate crimes that might violate children. And I'm proud of them allocating it, and I'm proud of the unit that Mike Hestron's group has done. The same thing with Sheriff Chad Bianco. Everybody else is defunding police and closing down human trafficking task forces because they're expensive to operate. These are very intense investigations. And the reason why we now know that this is actually existing in our community is because people like Chad Bianco and our Board of Supervisors found the way to get the funding to be able to expand these task forces. and the results are in. We have some very important cases, and I'm going to go through them in the next hour. And I'm going to ask you, as the audience, that if you know anything more about any of these, to come forward. And you can go to the Million Kids website at millionkids.org. You'll see the promotion of this show. This show will be archived after it's aired in case you need more information. And it will also tell you how to go about reporting. In these cases, because they're local cases, I'm going to give you the contact information for the specific investigators that are investigating these crimes, because we believe there are more victims. And if you know more about it, we're asking you to tell us about it. So I'm going to get started. First of all, I am telling you about this case as not only the press release for RCAHT, the Riverside County Human Trafficking Task Force, but also from a local reporting news agency that I just think the world of them. It is so difficult to find good information that is reputable. And this is called the Riverside County News Source. And if you don't subscribe to it, they aren't, they don't know I'm saying this either. They're not paying me to advertise for them, but I so much respect their work. And it's the reporter in this case is Trevor Montgomery. And he's ex-law enforcement who had a very serious accident and had to redo his career. And in this case, he reports for Riverside County News Source and also Shasta County, which is up by Redding. But this is, he's an excellent reporter and does excellent work. Headline, accused of sex trafficking at least 7 juvenile victims. These are young girls, 13, 14, 15 years old. I don't know all their ages, but I do know they are 7 minor victims out of Indio, and this man was picked up at the San Ysidro checkpoint down there, that border crossing. I'm going to tell you, this is some great law enforcement work going on here as they were tracking him. He was out of Indio. He had recruited at least 7 minor victims. This guy is accused of being quite violent. His name is DeWayne Williams. He was picked up on March 4th there. He's 32 years old, out of Indio, and he is accused of sex trafficking of minors. Now, he was picked up he's trying to get out of the country. He's being held on $1 million bond, and this guy is intimidating. Now, I'm going to say alleged because he has not had his day in court yet, and everyone deserves a day in court. But he is being charged with human trafficking of a minor. That is, in this case, forced sex, commercial sex of a minor. Pandering of a minor, that kind of reminds you of pimping if you don't know that word. Lewd acts with a minor, meaning he himself was violating these 7 young girls. And inducing a minor to consume narcotics. In this case, the charge is fentanyl. So he has been picked up. He is being held in lieu of $1 million bail or bond. And our RCAHT organization is asking that if you know anything about Mr. DeWayne Williams or a potential victim of his, he would meet these people online. So my role is training and outreach coordinator, is to use this radio show, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, to tell your kids that this is exactly how pimps and pedophiles work. They go online, they meet on dating sites, on hookup sites, on video game chat rooms, on all of those apps that have hashtags like Instagram and on TikTok and I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying bad people use those apps to seduce, to access, groom, seduce, and recruit our children. And in this case, there are at least 7 victims, and we believe there are more. If you know anything about this case, please contact Investigator Damien Butvidas. We're not sure the pronunciation. B-U-T, V like Victor, I-D-A-S. Let me give you the number. If you know anything, write this down. This will also be posted at millionkids.org. Phone number 760-836-16 That is Investigator Damien Butvidas. I can't say his name right. Forgive me, Damien. I'll just call you Damien because we know you. 760-836-1600. If you know anything more about DeWayne Williams, at this point it is alleged, but he is being charged with very serious crimes with minors engaged in sex trafficking. We're up against that break. We'll be right back.
Listen up, folks. You no longer have to drive out of the IE for a great restaurant experience. The Toasted Barrel, an upscale casual steakhouse located in Corona, has been winning award after award for their great diverse menu, service, ambience, wine, and cocktails. Customers call the Barrel the perfect date night. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant 4 years in a row. Wine Spectator recognized the Toasted Barrel's wine program for their award of excellence. Toasted Barrel is famous for their certified Angus beef, prime, Wagyu, and Kobe steaks, and they have some of the best pasta and seafood around. With happy hour and daily specials every day of the week, their appetizers and drink selections are the best around. Live music starts every Friday and Saturday at 5:30. Planning a dinner party, wedding rehearsal, family gathering, or holiday party? Look up Toasted Barrel online and make your reservation today.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are asking the public to pay attention to these local cases to see if you might be able to give us some additional information. So the one I just covered was a Mr. DeWayne Williams that was picked up at the San Ysidro border. He's being held down in San Diego. If you know anything about the activities of DeWayne Williams that might be related to this case or other potential victims that might be related to this case, again, I'm going to give you that number because I was kind of messing it up here, and then I'll go on to the next case. RCAHT Task Force Investigator Damien Butvidas, Butvidas. His number, 760-836-1600. Now, you can call anonymously on this if you don't want to talk with him directly. Get this number, write it down. Again, it'll be on our websites, 760-341-STOP. 760-341-7867. And you can just refer to the case of DeWayne Williams. Now, we have another case I want to talk about. I have bunches of cases to cover here today. This is a case of CODY Hansen. CODY Hansen out of Desert Hot Springs. Those guys out there are really hot, by the way, of getting this kind of cases and bringing them to closure. CODY Hansen, Desert Hot Springs, was taken into custody about 6 p.m. This was a little bit earlier, about a week and a half ago. He was arrested at 11700 of Upland Way in Desert Hot Springs. Authorities said the investigation began in Cabazon and resulted in Hansen being booked into the John Benoit Detention Center for several crimes, including human trafficking of a minor. Again, this is taking a young person, probably met online, seduce them in there, put them out into forced commercial sex. Now, I want to state this is alleged at this point because, again, has not completed due process. But I want you to understand the seriousness of these allegations. Taking a young girl, seducing that girl, and then forcing through force, fraud, fear, or coercion into sex trafficking. In this case, that's commercial sex. He's also charged with lewd acts of a minor and inducing a minor to consume narcotics. And get this is the one that will really nail him if he ends up being charged and found guilty. And that is production of child pornography and child abuse. And so what has happened here in this case, they are charging all of this out of the Superior Court Judge Greg Olson. What has happened in the case as they did the investigation in Cabazon, that he had allegedly been sexually abusing the girl and also taking the photographs and making those photographs and posting those photographs online in sex sites. And one of the things you have to understand is when they're underage and you've taken a photo, that's called manufacturing child pornography. Once you post that on a sex site for the girl to be violated or sent out for commercial sex, that is called distributing child pornography. So this man is looking at very long sentences in this kind of thing. Additionally, they allege that Hansen used the victim to transport, carry, sell, give away, prepare for sale, and peddle fentanyl on 9 separate occasions. This guy's looking at very long sentences. If you don't know, I'm reading this again from the news. Fentanyl is manufactured in foreign labs. What they're saying is what we know is it's usually made in China, and then it's transported over to Mexico, where they turn it into fentanyl and smuggle it into the U.S.-Mexican border. By the way, fentanyl is known to be 80 to 100 times more potent than morphine and is a popular additive mixed into any number of narcotics and pharmaceuticals. Now, we're not saying that that is the case. In his case, I'm using this to educate you. According to Sheriff Chad Bianco, last year alone, there were over about 500 fentanyl poisonings countrywide. If you really want to understand these crimes, by the way, and again, I'm not being paid to share this with you, but I was fascinated the other day to see a promotion on TV on Fox Nation called, what was it called? Killer Apps. Killer Apps. If you get a chance to go onto Fox Nation, there are 4 episodes. The last one is about fentanyl. You know, I'm probably, even though I work in this business and I see this crime all the time, I should be a much more alert to this than you are. And yet I found myself naive about the reality of fentanyl. And I think parents need to pay attention to that because they're caught unaware. You know, I am the old school kind of thing where you go on school ground and some guy tries to sell your kid a bag of pot or something, and that's how it takes place. But this is all changing dramatically with fentanyl, and I really had not stayed current on what was happening on that. In these cases, fentanyl is a chemical base made out of Asia, usually out of China, and then is sent over to Mexico. And we're seeing more and more of these people, most commonly, and this is not an ethnic thing in any way, shape, or form. Many different ethnicities are involved in the sale of ethanol, but we're seeing many of your Southeast Asian people that are speaking Spanish now. And one of the things they're doing is they send the base to Mexico. And then rather than to just turn it into a bag of pot, like you might think of drugs, they actually put this fentanyl in other pharmaceuticals. And I had not understood this, and that you're seeing people dying taking this stuff without ever understanding that they are mixing fentanyl in with legitimate over-the-counter pharmaceuticals. So that tells you need to be very careful where you're getting your drugs from. Don't be ordering them offshore and things like that, because it is a popular additive to many other narcotics and pharmaceuticals. And so we use this opportunity to share that. If you know anything about CODY Hansen out on Upland Way in Desert Hot Springs, again, his charges are alleged at this point, but we believe there are probably other victims. Please contact Investigator Aaron Wolfe, WOLFE. He is with RCAHT, the Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. That is Investigator Aaron Wolfe, 760-836-1600, 760-836-1600. Again, you can call anonymously if you don't want your name out there to 760-341-STOP, 760-341-STOP, or ask for Investigator Aaron Wolfe. CODY Hansen, he isn't taken into custody. He has been arrested. He's looking at a lot of charges. You see, when you post a photo of a young girl on a sex site, you're charged for every posting because those are different counts. And you need to remember that if you're thinking of engaging in any kind of underage sex, especially if you're taking a photo and sharing that photo with anyone, that is called child pornography. That's called manufacturing, distributing, and especially if you're mixing it with drugs, as the allegations are in this case. CODY Hansen is being held again in lieu of a $1 million bail. And I am proud of our support people, such as your district attorney and your sheriff, that they take these cases seriously. You know, when you involve a young underage girl and you violate her, you force her to take drugs and sell drugs and carry drugs, you put her out for commercial sex, alleging that this is possibly what happened. And until he goes to court, we don't know. But this is what I know about that potential victim. Her life has changed forever. Her life has changed forever. If you get involved in commercial sex and you're out there, these guys take all your money. You are simply the person providing the service. You are not benefiting from this money. And on top of it, it is usually violent, usually difficult. It starts as a relationship, and then you end up getting exploited. Please talk to your kids about going online and meeting up with people they don't know on those dating sites. My name is Opal Singleton. This organization is Million Kids. You can reach me at opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. We're up against that break. Be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. I'm the host of your show, and I appreciate so much each and every one of you that followed this show. You know, I'm only one person, and I've been doing this a mighty long time. Some people think maybe too long, who knows? But I need you guys. I need to be able to educate you all to understand this is very real. You know, you go on TV and you see all these melodramatic documentaries and you go, not really. And it is hard to look at because it's a negative subject. But if there's ever a time in our history that we need to take a new approach to teaching our children about technology and how pedophilia works, how human trafficking works, it's right now. You know, the reason I do what I do is I believe that sexual exploitation of a child online, especially, is just not necessary. We can educate our kids so they don't become victims. And that's why we do this show, so that you can talk to your kids. You know, think about what happens. Our kids are the first generation, as you've often heard me say, that will be able to reach the entire world, but the entire world will reach our kids through technology. And it's a life-changing deal. Now, it's way too late to take everybody off the internet. I don't believe we're going to be able to do that. But I do think we shouldn't put kids on there till they've gone through puberty. They can get a phone that's a flip phone. They don't need a smartphone. Until a kid is old enough to understand adult sexuality, they're not old enough to understand pedophiles and why somebody wants a naked photo. You sometimes hear me kid, if you're going to put your 9-year-old on a smartphone, you know, take them down to the strip club first and leave them off for 10 minutes and see how they hold up, because they are going to get an education about adult sex that you never would give to them. And, you know, is your child mature enough to stand up against literally thousands of pedophiles? If you put your child on an app like TikTok, you know, especially if they're on TikTok Thought, God forbid, that's the pornographic version, THOT, TikTok Thought. But if you're going to put your kid on there and they get, let's say, 1 million followers, you better understand, and your child better be able to do the math to know that at least 1% of those people are pedophiles. And so can your 9-year-old child understand what a pedophile is? Why they're trying to trick her into sending that naked photo or meet her over on another app? That's the first thing they do. They'll take you from TikTok to go to Snapchat or go to Facebook Messenger. That's the first sign you're talking to a pedophile. They move you to see if you're a cop and if you're going to respond. Is your 9-year-old child understand adult sexuality enough to know why that man is tricking her? And the fact that if she can send one provocative photo, even if it's just a little something off the shoulder or in a bikini, that he will begin to shame her and demand more photos. And she doesn't have, or he doesn't have, the capacity. This happens to young men, especially in those video game chat rooms where they're talking smack and they're doing stuff. And that kid doesn't realize that that live streaming works both ways and it gets recorded. And now they want money and they want to destroy them. If your child cannot cognitively understand that, why on earth would you put them in an environment where they're bait out there for a world of pedophiles? If they're getting 1 million followers, 10,000 people are going to try to contact your child and say, hey, baby, you're hot. Get me more of these photos. Meet me on Instagram. I will make you famous. You should be an influencer I'll help you get started. That was another one on that Fox Nation that I thought was interesting. Okay, back to our cases here. I want to get going. First of all, I want to just take 5 minutes and say thank you to each and every one of you that support this show financially, that send us a donation, no matter how small it is, or, only now and then. We can't operate, we can't do this work without you. So if you're willing to send us a donation, go to millionkids.org. You can either mail us a check or use your credit card, and we thank you for that. Okay, here's a new one. Now, this again is alleged. This man has just been charged, and so I want to give him his day in court. A man from Yucaipa, 35-year-old man arrested on charges of possession and distribution of child pornography. This is the Fontana Police Department's case, and they are excellent. You folks over there in Fontana, you have no idea what a valuable resource you have in your police department over there. Amazing people, that Chief Green and investigator. No, he's not an investigator. He's actually a corporal, Brad Guth, that runs the Internet Crimes Against Children. They have a special division out of Fontana that handles child sex crimes, especially things like child pornography and online sextortion and social media exploitation. The man accused is Christopher Lauderdale. He is out of Yucaipa. Authorities tracked him down. I think they found him over in Huntington Beach. He is being accused of downloading and distributing child pornography over the internet. That is a very serious crime. Authorities seized multiple electronic devices from his home. He was not home during the execution of the search warrant, according to the detectives. They discovered evidence indicating Lauderdale may have had access to a child during the search in this case. Lauderdale was located a few days later over in Huntington Beach, California, where police say he was arrested for possession and distribution of child pornography. He's booked over in the West Valley Detention Center. Here's the thing. If you know anything about a situation related to child pornography and Mr. Christopher Lauderdale, and even if you know something that would exonerate him, okay, or if you know more, have evidence, or know of situations related, this is how you report that. You report it to the Fontana Police Department. You can call directly there. The investigator that is handling it is J.D. Rodriguez. J.D. Rodriguez. So here's how you report. You contact J.D. Rodriguez at fontana.org, or you can pick up the phone and call the Fontana Police Department and ask for J.D. Rodriguez that's involved in investigating the case of Christopher Lauderdale. I also want to announce the sentencing of a Fontana man who received 11 years in federal prison for sex trafficking a Santa Maria girl. Now, in this case, this man is, by the way, named Jason Lee Taylor. He has been sentenced. He has been charged. He got 11 years in prison. He met a girl online. Think about this girl. She lives in Santa Maria. She hooks up with a guy out of Fontana. Doesn't know anything about him. She says that she's 19. She's lying. She's really only about 15, I believe it is, 15. And she's saying, I'm 19, and he's saying he's older, and he's 42. And she's saying, well, I'm not really 19. I'm really 16. And pretty soon she's 15. Talk to your children about what happens here. In this case, they formed a relationship. He came up and had sex with her up in Santa Maria. He met her on a dating site called Seeking.com. This is a dating site known to connect women with wealthy sugar daddies, according to the prosecutor. I can't attest to that. I don't know anything about it, but that's the site that he met her on. My point is, she's on that dating site. She knows she's underage. She knows she's a minor. She lies to an older guy, but they still hook up, and he had sex with her. What really set this off is at one point that he went up there, he paid her $600 to have commercial sex with her. So his charge went from just sex with a minor to sex trafficking of a minor in this case. And so he has been sentenced out of Fontana. Jason Lee Taylor getting 11 years for meeting a girl online, having sex with her, and then paying her money additionally for that sex. He is being charged with not only sex with a minor, but also human trafficking of a minor. So pay attention to that. Well, when we come back, I'm going to cover a couple of other cases that are just enormous. They're a little farther away. One's Fresno and one's Oconee, and one is Compton. But what I hope you're starting to see here is this business is real. It isn't fun. It's hard business. But we have to educate our kids so they do not become victims. And so we're going to talk about now the takedown of 43 gang members that was running a sex trafficking and minor operation, putting those girls out there for commercial sex all day long. They kept the money to develop the gang, and they had some of the biggest guns you've ever seen in your life. Stay with me, folks. You don't want to miss this case. Be right back.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens, and she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty, 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We're really hitting you with the crimes and not so much technology today. But there are some very serious cases taking place around us. And I just really want you to understand how serious this is. Well, every morning I get up and I do my research. I have tens of thousands of hours of researching all these subjects. But I don't normally see a case like this one, and I want to share with you just how important this case is. Headline for me, there are many different headlines on this one. This one was 43 arrested in Central Valley crackdown on violent street gangs. Now, keep in mind, this is just right after the shootout up there in Sacramento. And many of you heard me talk about SB 1042, which our government here in California will not allow to even advance to the first stage. And the SB 1042 would have made these kinds of crimes violent crimes. And that means they're subject to the third strike law. that if they are classified as violent and serious. But human trafficking, even human trafficking of a minor, sex with a child is not considered a serious or violent crime in the state of California. And there's a lockhold on our legislators. So watch out on who you vote for. So what had happened in the Sacramento thing is one of the guys that was involved in that shootout had only been out for 6 weeks. He had been sentenced 10 years for nearly killing a prostitute, and he served 4 months of it, and he's now out. Well, here's the headline. 43 new gang members were taken down out in Fresno. 17 arrests were related to human trafficking and pimping, okay? It's the result of months-long multi-agency investigation. What did I just say? That people in Fresno and people in Riverside and people in San Bernardino are investing in their law enforcement, investing in their prosecutor office so that they can take these down and create and set a public safety environment. These guys are accused of some very violent crime. So as I looked at this and started to understand it, it's a massive takedown involving 200 law enforcement personnel. That is not easy to gather up those kinds of resources. 17 human trafficking and pimping cases. Nearly 50 firearms. I hope you Google this and look this up. Now, I'm pretty hardcore because I live in this business, but I'm going to tell you, these firearms were impressive. They had no regard for human life, according to one of the officers that was up there, the California Department of Justice. Several of the shootings were prevented because of the investigation, including 2 planned mass shootings at a Fresno bar when the police went in ahead of time and did this and took them down. He said the gang members were both male and female. I really hope you hear that. We think of coyotes as males. Many of the cartel coyotes are females, and many of your gang members are females. Do you know that 60% of girls involved in commercial sex trafficking, where they're being violated, were recruited by another girl? They bought guns. I mean, big guns, lots of them, expensive cars and jewelry, with the money made by forcing these young girls into sex trafficking. And then they use that same money to post bond for other gang members to get out of jail. So as I start to read this, members are allegedly responsible for violent crimes, including homicide, and were identified as a significant threat to the community. Law enforcement also executed 38 search warrants, resulting in the seizure of 30 firearms and about $19,000. Now, I saw these firearms, and they're impressive. Why am I taking your wonderful afternoon to look at this? Because I want you to think about the reality of what I've just read here. These are young girls. Many of them are foster kids or homeless or runaway kids or pregnant kids, kids at risk, kids from broken families, and any kid willing to play on the internet, especially those dating sites, hookup sites, and those chat rooms. And they get a fantasy relationship. They put these young gang guys on there. They look like hot studs, and the kids go wild about it, and they sneak out, they meet up with them. And the next thing you know, you're being ganged in. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. And your life has changed forever. They are putting these young people out there to support 43 gang members and buy those very expensive guns. So how much money do you think the girls got to keep if they were funding all of this with us? This is a violent street gang that was almost totally funded by young people in human trafficking and selling drugs. And once they're caught up in it, you see these guns, you see the violence, you see the threats of murder, you see the shootouts. You can't get out, when you're being held in that kind of thing. So mom and dad, I know I'm being tough on you, okay? But when I see this, you see, finally, we see these cases in print because they take a long time to investigate. We knew they're going on. I know because I work in the business, and I'm trying to tell you how serious this is. But this week, we have these cases that show you how urgent this is, that we talk with our kids, that our kids become leaders to train other kids. Never, ever go on those dating sites and send one of those photos. Never go out and meet one of those people. Stay away from that kind of thing. Teach our young girls and our young guys, the way you don't become a victim of this is you know who you are and what you stand for. You have strong self-esteem. You decide you are somebody and you're going to be somebody, and you are not going to throw your life away by messing around on the internet and allowing somebody else to take control of their lives. It's really interesting how many kids fight their parents for control of their own life, and yet they go on social media and give out that control to some imaginary person that is nothing like what they think, and their lives change forever. We got to get there before the bad guys do. So you have this information now. I hope you'll pay attention. Please go to millionkids.org, sign up for our newsletters, sign up for these insider alerts. And while you're there, if you want to donate, we could sure use your support. This is tough business. We're going to do it, but we need the resources to be able to do it. And for that, we need you, whether you're a nonprofit donating or just a corporation that wants to sponsor an organization that is local, that is productive, that is accountable, and that changes the world. We appreciate you. I also want to encourage you that if you know anything about those cases, please help us out by going online, getting that information, and letting us know. You can report anonymously. There is also a national hotline I'm going to give you if you know of other cases you want to report. And again, you can do it anonymously. That is 1-888-3737-888. I'm going to do it one more time because it's tricky. 1-888-3737-888. That is whether you know about child pornography or social media exploitation or somebody being blackmailed or somebody being trafficked or even labor trafficking. If you know any of those cases, you can report them at 1-888-3737-888. Well, this is Opal Single, and our organization is Million Kids. There's a team of us that make all this happen, that put out all these education. I do the research and develop the content and shoot that over to RCDL Enterprises, where it's made into a readable package, and that's sent off to Chris Kleiss out there across the social media spectrum, and he gets it out to you. But we need to make it a two-way conversation, and we welcome you to be involved by following us, by sharing that. One of the reasons we need you to sign up for these insider alerts and our newsletter is because we run Million Kids Missing Kids. And literally, we help parents find their kids that have gone online and poof, they're gone. You have no idea how painful and difficult that is for a parent. That parent doesn't know if they're in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, or Tijuana, and they contact us. They have to have a police report number. We do not handle the case. The police departments do, but we will get that information out there so that if you know where that child is, we can help find them. And we brought a lot of kids home. Do that by going to millionkids.org and follow us if you would. I'd appreciate it. Thank you to each and every one of you that support us in your prayers and support us financially. We will be having a film come out. We haven't forgot. Stay with us, folks. So we'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the darknet will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.